Hey guys, this is Justin back with an engineer's perspective. Today I'm doing a video on my favorite stainless steels. Up front, I just want to make clear that I obviously have lots of stainless steel knives, but for me, stainlessness is generally not a very important attribute. And for those that don't know, almost without exception, minus this guy up here, and I'd even add that one in there, there is consequences and reductions in performance to make a steel stainless. The best example of a steel that does not suffer because of the fact that it's stainless is going to be MagnaCut. It, by a long shot, does the best job of mitigating the negative aspects of having to use so much chromium in its composition, but it doesn't completely overcome that. That said, this is not only a stainless focus, but also a EDC knife focus, and when stainlessness doesn't matter for me into an EDC knife, what does is edge retention. And what does edge retention best is not stainless steels, but it's going to be your high alloy non-stainless. We're talking Maximit, 10V, K390, 4V, Rex 45. Those are the kind of steels that I am going to steer towards. So keeping that in mind, that those kind of steels are my preference, I do want to go through what I recommend in terms of stainless steels. So let's start on the left side here. This is going to be the low edge retention category. So I wanted to bring in the Cold Steel Airlight because this is made out of AUS 10A. I've been very pleased with this AUS 10. I do think it's a very nice low end steel, but it is not to the likes of anything up above, and it definitely suffers from sharpening very easily, but the edge it takes is nice for what it is, but not that great, and it is not very stainless. There are some other steels like VG10, but once again, you're really sacrificing edge performance in VG10, and so what my truly favorite low edge retention stainless steel is going to be LC200N, and by a very, very wide margin. I love LC200N, and I love the Native 5. LC200N has very, very acceptable levels of edge retention. Most people feel like it's performing in the S30V range. In some ways it does in terms of hardness, but in a lot of ways it doesn't. But most people will get very nice edge retention out of LC200N. But what really makes it incredible is it sharpens better than any other stainless steel that's come out to date. It has an ultra fine microstructure, and it just comes up so sharp, so clean and keen, and so fast. So if you have trouble sharpening your knife, LC200N is going to be the best in terms of stainless steel, and a lot of people, like I said, are going to compare it to this mid-tier level of edge retention. So it is a great, great steel, possibly my favorite stainless steel, LC200N. So that's the low end. Let's look at the mid-tier. I've got a couple of examples here. So I've got S35VN from Spyderco, S30V from Benchmade, and I've got XHP from Microtech here. I have extensive use with Spyderco's MagnaCut in their mule team, but I sent that back to the owner, and so this Melio, Gyuto and MagnaCut is standing in for it. Just up front, I can't enjoy S30V, like truly enjoy it. I can get lots of utility out of it, but I cannot enjoy S30V. The way Spyderco does their S35VN, if you slap a really high polish edge on here that's relatively thin, I can get some enjoyment out of this. I'm like, okay, that's all right. But do I think it's good? Do I really like it? No, not really. Nice and stainless though. I actually prefer the edge I get out of S30V. Just Spyderco did a pretty good job on this heat treat on this S35VN, so I do prefer it over this S30V. And Microtex XHP. XHP actually has a fairly high carbide volume of chromium carbides, and it can reach more into this higher level edge retention for a lot of users. But for myself, it sharpens very easily and takes a super nice edge. But the way the chromium carbides break down for me is just kind of, so I don't really think the working edge it takes is that great. It's just okay, and it's not very stainless if that's what you're looking for. But I mean, it's a nice performing steel. For me, it's in the ballpark of S35VN when it's done well. So I think you're not going to be disappointed with XHP, but I don't think you're going to be blown away. I know Spyderco has been known for heat treating their XHP really well, and some people really enjoy how that stuff goes. But it's not amazing. What is, I think, my favorite mid-tier stainless steel is going to be the MagnaCut. People, manufacturers, being the people, are doing a pretty good job heat treating their factory knives to a higher level of hardness in the 62, 63 range. And MagnaCut at that hardness is pretty nice. It's a pretty nice stainless steel. I do still feel like it requires diamonds for sharpening, and in my Spyderco Mule, it wasn't the best sharpening stainless I've ever worked with. Might even have preferred the way this XHP sharpens compared to that MagnaCut in the Mule. But the way the front end sharpness holds on MagnaCut at that hardness, and the working edge being so much better than its low carbide volumes deserves, and the thin edges it can take really make it a nice mid-tier performer. When you've got diamond abrasives, it just sharpens so quick. The edge it actually takes once you get it all cleaned up is pretty sick. It's fine. It's got sweet sticky bite. Really nice. The way this particular MagnaCut is heat treated, it is a real honey in terms of sharpening. It just takes the sweetest, cleanest edge. I do wish it was a little bit harder, but in the kitchen I don't have an issue with it. And the front end sharpness does drop off a little bit, but it holds this really nice high level of sharpness with tooth for basically ever. Really nice kitchen knife setup there. So MagnaCut is going to be my mid-tier suggestion. If I had tried S45VN, that might take the cake, but I haven't tried it yet, but it's very promising what I'm seeing out of it. On to the high edge retention side here. So let's start here. I think what most people are going to go to right away is going to be M390. I really like the M390 in this Para 3 right here. The trouble with that is I do not really like the 20CV in this Benchmade 940. And I also have military in 204P, those three all being the same steel, just different manufacturers if you're not aware. And the trouble with M390 is that decent performance is so hit or miss, and there is a ton of bad M390 out there. So much so that odds are if you're buying a knife in M390 or its analogs, it's probably not going to be that great. It's like the Benchmades, I think you're out of luck. Spyderco has had a lot of good M390 come out. It's had some okay 20CV and 204P. For some reason, they just go a little bit further with their M390 specifically. So an M390 Spyderco would be recommended, but generally I feel like you're going to be disappointed buying a knife in M390 or its analogs. What I think is probably your much better bet is going to be S90V. I do think Spyderco does a better job than Benchmade with their S90V, but overall, you're probably going to be happier with S90V. It's probably going to be less forgiving in terms of diamond abrasives versus alumina than your M390s, but it You will be amazed at how easy S90V is to sharpen, and it comes up sweet. It comes up so sweet. It takes a nice aggressive edge, and it's so easy to clean up and just get a really perfect edge on it. It sharpens quick with the diamond abrasives. It's really great. So far I've had very good luck with the stainlessness. Not going to be as high as the M390, but I've had very good luck with it. Not that I'm in a very challenging environment personally, but solid stainless performance. You're going to get much better edge retention, sharpening experience out of it generally. And in terms of its edge stability and toughness, I've had very good luck out of this M390, I'm going to be honest with you. By the numbers, S90V is going to outperform it significantly, or notably, maybe not significantly. But I've had really good luck with this M390. So a nicely heat-treated M390 versus S90V is probably going to be a wash for most users. Hitting staples and things like that, and getting in good work with it. But S90V is going to be the better choice. So S90V is my recommendation. And if you're wondering about S110V, just skip it. It is very stainless if that's a problem for you with S90V, but just the front end sharpness and the sharpening experience on it is not that, it's not hard to sharpen, but it's just not that fun. So yeah, I'd say it's easy to sharpen, but to get the exact edge you want, if you're picky like me, then S90V is 100% the way to go. So I'll kind of leave the winners in the winner's circle. There you go. So in summary, for low edge retention, extremely high toughness and corrosion resistance, LC200N. If you want something that's super balanced, it's easy to sharpen, does prefer diamonds, but easy to sharpen, great edge retention, great edge stability, great stainlessness, you're going to want to go MagnaCut. And if you want to go to the top end, you're going to want to do S90V. Still easy to maintain and sharpen, strops back fantastically, as do these. Good level of stainless, not the highest, but good. And that working edge is solid and lasts. So those are my favorite stainless steels as of right now. That's all I've got. Have a good one.